invite all of us to take a step back. Issaquah sure has a lot to celebrate. We've built master plan communities, welcomed new businesses, annexed neighbors, and enhanced our infrastructure. Our city includes a thriving art scene, committed human service agencies, a dedication to sustainability, and an impressive amount of parks, trails, and open space. Thanks to careful fiscal planning, Issaquah's credit rating of AA+ cuts down on the city's and the taxpayers' borrowing costs. I also want to give a special thank you to the men and women of our police department who work tirelessly to keep our community safe. All of this and more is supported by City Hall, which collects only about 12% of our citizens' total property taxes. This community's livability is no surprise. Last year, Outside Magazine rated Issaquah one of the best towns in the country. And while we've changed over the years, much of what we love about this community remains timeless. Take, for example, our beloved Issaquah Alps. The majestic trio has existed for many thousands of years and is a visible reminder of what makes Issaquah so special. On a human scale, our strong commitment to Issaquah's guiding principles and goals has endured. That doesn't mean we haven't been challenged along the way. Several years ago, the recession hit our community, from family incomes to the budget here at City Hall. So what are the secrets to our continued success? The answer is threefold: strong relationships, flexibility, and creative thinking.
The people that reside here are individuals that have lived here in the Issaquah community who maybe are in a situation where they need affordable housing. They've come here because the YWCA offers a place where they can live together in community, plus have resources that are at hand here on site to help them maintain their permanent housing. A lot of times we move into communities and we think, oh wow, it would be great to have maybe a mental health service, counseling service on site, or it might be really nice to have someone who can help me connect to a job, employment resources. So that's what the YWCA provides here for our residents, but also for other Issaquah members in this community.
Design started in 2007. Construction started 2009, and we opened the doors in June 2011 for at least part of the project. And we did the grand opening of the childcare in October of 2011. It was great to come back to the city and work with them in this particular as project manager for the Family Village at Issaquah. Because I was working with people with whom I had relationships before, and what really makes a difference is when you actually have these working relationships and you have a sense of trust and also a sense of respect. So one of the things that was an important principle for as we built this was not just what we were building, but how, and how there were many partnerships. There was a lot of personal and civic investment in actually making this parcel happen and the vision that the city brought to the table. So we wanted to honor that investment that the city had.
We submitted a certificate of need to the state in early 2004 to build a full-service community hospital in the Issaquah area. The city was very pleased that we were going to be providing an enhanced medical capability for the community. They were very cooperative and welcoming of our efforts to make that happen. It really was a nice, I guess, divulging of agendas and essentially goals and the mission that both the city has for creating for having obviously a community that's vibrant, that is in touch with nature, enjoys really kind of a green orientation to the environment. And a lot of those goals, quite honestly, were synonymous with what we wanted to do as well. We're really in sync with what we wanted to do. And so I honestly think that the vision and I want to say the specific requirements that the city had for certain elements around signage, around design, around really kind of an eco-friendly approach matched very well with what we had as our own vision. We would sit down and go over any specific areas of question or needing to get more clarity on specific issues. So it's actually been a very productive and I think very enjoyable experience from Swedish's perspective working with the city.
Issaquah is flexible. 2011 also marked a huge accomplishment in the preservation of more than 140 acres of forested land in and around the city, including the entire Park Point area on Tiger Mountain. From Port Blakely's communities to Mountains to Sound Greenway, our relationships with local government leaders, residents, developers, educators, and property owners were crucial in implementing our vision.
Here, when you think of the High Point Trailhead, this whole area along here on the north side of Tiger Mountain is actually owned by the city. They've done a lot of work over the years to acquire it. But on the sort of northwest flank, there's a large parcel of property, 120 plus acres that had been sitting there, slated private property, slated for a potential development for over 15 years. And it was something that a lot of conservationists want to see that preserved. And so for 15 years there have been efforts off and on to try to acquire that land, but it really had never been able to be fully realized, the politics and the funding. But a couple of years ago it became more clear with the economy tanking around here that the landowner got into some financial difficulties and an opening came up. And the city leadership here realized, ooh, we do have this opportunity here, and jumped on it and had to create an extremely creative solution. It was pretty dicey for a while, but the city really stuck with that and pulled in all kinds of groups from the county and Port Blakely, the Greenway Trust, a lot of groups that had to come together and make something that was pretty visionary with just the mechanisms that had to happen to make that work. And today you have that flank, which is highly visible from Interstate 90 and just serves, sitting right above the downtown Issaquah there. It's that flank where you first reach Tiger Mountain will be preserved long term as trees and open space.
Meanwhile, our creative thinking for 2 large-scale green building initiatives put Issaquah on the global map last year. Although Z-Home, the first multifamily, zero-energy, carbon-neutral community in the United States, was spearheaded by the city, it was also a labor of love among a variety of partners, including public agencies, private companies, and nonprofits.
So back in 2006, there was a group of us, in this region, a large group of people all working on sustainability, and a few of us came together, brought together actually by the city of Issaquah, to say, what does the future of housing look like? What does the future of residential development look like? And can we create an iconic project somewhere within our region, specifically within Issaquah was the preference, to show what the future of housing looked like? It provides a model to builders, to community members, to developers, to say, what do we want building to look like in 30 years, in 50 years? If every project produced as much energy as it needed for the occupants to live, what does that look like from an energy portfolio perspective? A zero energy bill from a residential homeowner perspective. And that's, I think, what we're all working for when we talk about sustainability 30 and 40 and 50 years out. This is the kind of project that we envision the bulk of people living in. It's an icon, but it's a community icon. Already thousands of Issaquah residents have toured the project and learned about sustainability and learned about green building as it applies to their own lives and the homes that they live in. But it's also more than just a community amenity. It's an icon from a regional and a national perspective to show what can happen in residential housing, or what the sort of beacon is, not just for here in the greater Puget Sound, but this type of project applies anywhere. The concepts that were applied here, the energy systems, the materials that were used, the construction practices, this applies anywhere in the country. And so we've already had a national interest in how did this project work? How did it work from a partnership perspective? How did it work from a construction perspective? And at the end of the day, this is the kind of template that can be used not just locally, although it's particularly pertinent here, but anywhere around the country for zero energy housing.
Since many of us live and breathe Issaquah on a day-to-day basis, it may be difficult to see the amazing significance of the past few years. Decades from now, I'm confident we'll all look back to this period and recognize what a pivotal time this was in our history. The development of our two master planned communities, Issaquah Highlands and Tallis, is winding down. Meanwhile, the city is undertaking a major planning effort with the development of the Central Issaquah Plan. It's time to start our next chapter. To recalibrate for this change, the city recently completed an organizational study. This year, we're focusing on implementing key recommendations from that report, including changes to our departmental structure and work processes.
As we've reorganized the departments into one development services department, we're looking to take the building component, the planning component, and the utility street use component into one development function. When the applicant comes into the city, we're looking to streamline that process by having all the departments together in one development services group. That provides a lot more collaboration in how we process permits, how we review it. The streamlining part comes into play when we as a group review the project early in the design stage rather than when the applicant comes in for permitting. The part that's most exciting in putting together a new department would be looking at ways in which people can work at different levels than they had in the past. In previous times when a plan went through the review process, the plan's examiner or the planner would be sitting at their desk and work individually at their workstations on the project. In this new environment, we're looking to create teams of review where the planners, the building plan review, the engineers would be sitting down together with the designers of the project and work collaboratively to solve problems in a way that creates a much better project because we can put our ideas together jointly as though we're on the same design team.
A major focus for 2012 will be enhancing our economic vitality, which is a community's capacity to be economically competitive, resilient, and attractive to both private and public enterprise.
The point of economic development is really part of a bigger vision to create a sustainable and vital community where we want it to be a good place for people to do business, both retailers and commercial office space. And so economic development, it's you know, as the city grows older and things become more complicated, you know, what we're finding out is something that a lot of other communities have already found out, and that is that we actually have to work to get the businesses and keep the businesses we want. It just doesn't happen by circumstance. Issaquah has always had a really strong retail base. Gilman Village, Front Street, you know, I think what's happened is with the addition of approximately 5,000 new households in Issaquah Highlands and Tallis, along with the annexation of South Cove and some of our other annexations, I think what you're finding is that the city is realizing that we could use more employment, you know, that people are having to commute quite a ways to get to jobs here. So there's a lot of, the dynamic has shifted some, and I think what we're looking at is really making better use of the property that we have, you know, using it in a more efficient way, increasing development and allowing for kind of more businesses to make Issaquah home.
In our engineering department, staff will be working on the formation of a local improvement district, or LID, where property owners located in North Issaquah will help fund a list of road improvements, along with contributions from the city, as well as state and/or federal grants. While our to-do list is long, our commitment to fiscal responsibility is paramount. Budgets are tight, but I am confident we can continue providing the high-quality customer service that Issaquah is known for. We have the strong community ties, flexibility, and creative thinking to make our next chapter a historic one.